Hello, YouTube. This is Mark again with my 3.5 month update of my Achilles tendon rupture, which I am recovering from non-surgically, non-operatively, during the early functional rehab method. So it is, let's see, what's today's date? March 28th, I think. The injury was December 10th, 2019. So we're at about 15 and a half weeks from that injury. We're in the middle of the COVID-19 quarantine. No, it looks like it's bright in my windows here. It's a very gray, rainy day where I live in Cleveland, Ohio. So I was going to show rehab outside, but we'll be doing it inside today. So some pretty good progress has been made since my last video at the 3-month mark. I want to share with you. First thing I want to discuss, though, are two things, and one is gap size. So gap size. I had a 2 centimeter gap on my Achilles when I ruptured it. So my calf and my Achilles hanging from the calf pulled away, and then the Achilles attached to the heel. There was a 2 centimeter space confirmed by MRI. That's called a gap, which may or may not be a misnomer. The MRI shows there's no tendon there, but there's probably still some stuff there. So I had a 2 centimeter gap, and a lot of people I've been finding out are recommended if they have a 2 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 5 centimeter gap. They're like, well, there's a gap. You have to have surgery to pull them back together. There's no evidence that says that. There's no study that directly says if there's a gap, you have to have surgery or you won't heal correctly. So people are advised that, and that might be expert opinion. That might be the opinion of an orthopedic surgeon or a podiatrist or a podiatric surgeon or a physical therapist, but that is not a proven thing at all. And as a matter of fact, there is a study, and it's the only study that I'm aware of, and that was shared to me by a very nice member of the Facebook group, so thank you for that, that showed 60 people that had gaps in an Achilles tendon rupture between 2 centimeters and it was up to, I believe, 10 or 11 centimeters, which is huge. And they did a non-surgical recovery of these patients, and at the end of the study, everyone was able to recover, and they considered them equal recoveries. So when you think of an 11 or 10 centimeter gap, that's humongous. It's hard to really consider that something that pulled apart just by using plantar flexion and early rehab will come back together and perform like it's supposed to. So it's a small study, only 60 people, the only one I'm aware of. So if there's another one, please link it down below in the comments. But it's an important one. Those people with those gaps, they were able to recover. So whenever a surgeon says, well, you have a 4 centimeter gap, we recommend surgery, that's an opinion. That's not been proven by any real strong evidence. So it's important to know that, I think, for everybody out there who's considering their options on recovery. 60 people isn't a lot of people. I would advise not to make your opinion solely on that one small study. It would need to be replicated at a much larger scale to make that to be a stronger piece of evidence, but it is important to know it. So I think people can heal well, no matter the gap size. Definitely make a decision. I think if you're at 4 or 5 centimeters plus, it's a tough decision to make. That study is really small. You have to do your own studying for that. I'm not recommending anything, but I know for mine, 2 centimeters, it's gone great. So just information for you to use for your own purposes. The second thing I wanted to discuss is methods of treatment, and in a lot of the countries where medicine is socialized, it's government medicine, non-surgical is preferred by kind of a landslide. So that's because it's cheaper. You don't have to have the expense of surgery. It's cheaper to treat it that way. But also, the studies show that it's effective. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing on this Facebook group, and this is an international Facebook group, lots of people from all over the world, mostly English speaking, but a lot of them are saying that their providers, their physicians, their therapists, their podiatrists are saying to go 5-6 weeks without doing any range of motion. They want them to be no movement at all for 5 or 6 weeks. And I think that's just horrible advice. That's the old conservative route that led to a really high re-rupture rate. And there's no evidence at all which would support that. When you look at any non-surgical protocol or therapy study, early range of motion just far outweighed all the benefits of the early range of motion versus no range of motion. It was night and day difference as far as outcomes, as far as re-rupture rates and strength. So how anyone is still recommending that is beyond me, and I would like, if that's something that's being done to you, to challenge your provider and ask what evidence they have to recommend such therapy. When you think about it, if you're pushing the two tendons together and then just locking it there and not letting it do anything, it's gonna heal like a rock. And tendons aren't rocks. Tendons are meant to be elastic and stretch like rubber bands. So, it's important to get it moving. I think their train of thought is they don't want it to stretch, they want it to heal super tight. But when you're doing early range of motion therapy, you are not going to stretch the Achilles tendon at all. You are going from plantar flexion almost to neutral. There's no stretch there. You stretch when you're at dorsiflexion. So when you dorsiflex, you're stretching the Achilles. But early range of motion, you do not dorsiflex. You go up to neutral. There's no stretching involved. That's just getting the tendon to perform like a tendon and to heal like a tendon, not like a big clot, like a big scab that's going to be weak and not perform well when you actually do start putting tension on it. So I think it's important that people know and to challenge the providers, saying, what evidence do you have that I shouldn't be doing range of motion? Because all the evidence, which I linked to in my first video, says early range of motion has best outcomes. So important details, and utilize that. You're your own best advocate when you're healing from this, and I want you to heal well. So know that information and share that with your provider, and see what they say. I mean, if it's my Achilles tendon, I want it to heal the best it possibly can. So I'm going to do the best things that have been proven to work. But that's a personal decision. Use the information to your own benefit. And again, I had a 2 centimeter gap. I did early range of motion starting at day 10 of the injury, and I have healed very tight. I still can't touch, if my toes are touching a wall, my knees still can't touch a wall. So it's not stretched by any means. It's super tight, and I'll show you my heel lifts. The heel gets all the way up. There's no doubt that I did not heal long. So I did early range of motion. I did a lot of it. I had rehabbed early, and no stretch concern for me. So I'm a one case study, but it just makes sense. If you're not going past neutral, you're not dorsiflexing, you're not stretching it. So I think that's bad advice, just straight up bad advice. And so I would challenge your provider to prove what they're saying and show them the evidence that supports early range of motion if you're healing non-surgically. So with that said, I would like to show you what I'm doing now, what I'm capable of. I've already done a bunch of rehab today. Actually tried to make a video and it didn't record right, so take 2. So it might be a little less than my best, but I'm doing really well, and I want to show you what I'm capable of. I'm 3.5 months, 15.5 weeks from the rupture, and here's kind of what I'm doing, my heel lifts and my baby plyometrics still. So here we go. Okay, so kind of warm up a little bit. I was sitting on my heels, so can kind of jump. Injured leg is right here. Still using mostly healthy leg, but quite a bit more of my injured leg now. Side. And you see my toes are still up. I'm not going down hard, so I still want that hard push down. I think that's where your injury risk can occur. So use a lot of caution when you're doing these movements, But I can still kind of touch really quickly here, and I'll show you my beginnings of a run. So my little baby run, just want to reintroduce it to my therapy. So here's my heel lifts. Okay, so again, trying to get the heel all the way up, squeezing the calf as tight as I can. and then trying to hold it all the way at the top, and then lower down. So the end range of motion is getting quite a bit stronger. I feel like the heel's just as high as the healthy one, which was really important to me, really important part of the rehab process. And it's coming along nicely. I'm really proud of where I'm at with this. So here's a couple freestanding heel lifts, which I've just started doing. Lift my foot up, and then lock the knee. That's 1, 2. Let's do one more. Show you from the back here. Shake it out. And hands are down. So that's my rehab. That's where I'm at. I'm feeling pretty good. I shot some hoops, did some, playing ball with my daughters. Moving pretty well. Life's pretty good at this point. I'm not doing athletic movements or anything, but recovery's coming along really nice at the 3.5 month mark. So much better than I honestly thought it would be. So the non-surgical, non-operative route has been really good to me. I've done what I feel is the right thing, the heavy loading, the rehab that's helping it progress. So here's stairs. So in cautions, kind of go upstairs. And then you go down. Still limited. Still limited by the dorsiflexion. Still limited by that dorsiflexion. So I'm going down really good, but not quite normal because I can't really roll my knee forward all the way like I used to be able to. I was hoping to show one of the Facebook members my cat, but she's not around. So I'm just gonna end this video showing you my dorsiflexion, which is getting pretty close to touching the wall. I do want to point out too, when I'm talking about those rehab methods and non-surgical, this is always for a basic, common Achilles tendon rupture where your tendon snaps in the middle, like mine did. It's how most by far do, but if you have like an avulsion fracture or something about the part of the heel bone comes off or something in your calf gets torn, therapy might change a little bit. I'm just talking about straight up Achilles tendon rupture. Anyways, here is my knee to wall. This does stick out just a teeny bit, probably 3/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch. So healthy leg can do about 6 inches, no problem. This one's touching the wall, and I don't know how well you can see it, but touching the wall is about 1 inch away. And again, that's doing 0 stretching. So anyone that's concerned about stretching it with that early range of motion, not a real thing. I did early range of motion, lots of early rehab, and I am very tight. You can see how high my heel got on my heel lift. I'll show you one more of those just to reiterate how high my heel's getting, that I am not healing long, which is a consideration, and I'm doing the early range of motion therapy. So here's all the way up. There we go. And then from the bottom, all the way up. Do another video at 4 months. Until then, be well. Take care.